What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix for Week 10 of the 2021 CFL season. I'm Ryan Coop here with your running back preview today, taking a look at all the running back options for week number 10. A quick note on this week. First game of the week comes Wednesday night between Toronto and Ottawa, so make sure you get your lineup set before then. And both those teams play two games this week, and both games will count towards their fantasy total. So take that into account. You'll notice the prices are inflated for that as well. If you missed it, go back, check out the quarterback preview I have out already, and stay tuned for the receivers and defense later today as well. But let's take a look at the running back options for this week. The highest priced one this week comes with John White of the Toronto Argonauts at $10,000, due in large part to him being playing two games this week. John White, so far this season, has averaged 9.2 points in 7 games. And if you're looking to get full value, which I deem as 2.5 points per $1,000 you spend, you need 25 points out of him. So I have John White as a stay away from this week. He has two matchups. Yes, the matchup with Ottawa is decently favorable. The matchup with Hamilton isn't too bad. You see the totals there. 17.2 and 14.7 is what running backs put up against those teams. But the problem with John White is he splits the backfield with DJ Foster a little bit. In his last 5 games, White has not put up over 10 points. So unlikely that he's putting you up 25. Don't waste your money, I'd say, on $10,000 John White. I also say stay away from Andrew Harris. While his price is starting to slowly but surely drop, the highest point total he's put up on the season thus far is 16.6 points in his first game of the year. He's averaging 13.4. Surprising lack of touchdowns this year from Andrew Harris. I think he has just one on the year. He hasn't really gotten involved in the passing game a whole ton. At his price point, you need a big day from Harris, and I'm not sure we're getting that, especially against an Elks team that is the best team in the CFL right now against running backs. They give up just on average 11 points a game. So I say stay away from Andrew Harris. James Wilder Jr. is one of the top running backs in the CFL. He comes in at $9,376. I have him as a yellow light this week. I'm cautionary on him. I think he could be a good play, but I think he could be a disappointment. And that's largely due to his salary. Last week he put up 12.3 points, 14.9 against Ottawa. 2 weeks before that, against the Bombers team he's facing, he put up 25.1. He had 2 touchdowns, and he was the go-to option. I'm staying away from I'm cautious on Wilder Jr. because I think he is capable of putting up that 23.5 point week easily. And the Bombers' defense seems like it should be a favorable matchup against running backs, but they have gotten Steven Richardson back on the defensive line and Kyrie Wilson at linebacker, which are 2 big pieces for that Bombers' run defense. Also, with Trevor Harris back in the lineup for Edmonton, expect maybe a bit more of a pass-heavy team again. I'm cautious on him. I think he could hit that total, or he could have what we saw last game from him, which is in the 14-15 point range, which is not what you're looking for if you're spending that much money on James Wilder. William Stanback I have in the cautionary category at 21.8 points is what you're looking for at over an $8,700 salary. He's got a nice matchup with Ottawa. Last time out when they played Ottawa, he did put up just 11.2 points though. He had the one game against Toronto 2 weeks ago where he put up 25.4. He got his second touchdown in the year. He also got involved in the passing game. But the touchdowns have been few and far between for Stanback so far this season. And while he can put up those 100-yard days on the ground, 100 yards rushing is only going to get you 10 fantasy points. So he's a great running back, and if he can get those touchdowns, get those receptions, he is a great fantasy pick. But I have to stay cautious on him each and every week because most weeks he doesn't, and he gets you somewhere in the 10 to 15 point range. Also staying cautious on DJ Foster. He plays 2 games this week. He's backup running back for the Argos. Gets involved in the passing game a little here and there. He's averaging 12.2 points on the year, and with 2 games at that total, he'd be putting you up 24.4, which would give you full value on the week. I originally had Foster as a green light on this week. The only reason I put him as cautious is looking at his past couple of games. In his last 4 games, 10.2, 15.4, 7.7, and 8.4. So he's been hovering kind of right below that 10-point range. I'm not sure he hits you full value. I'm always cautious as well, just because he is a backup running back. What if they decide all of a sudden John White's getting the bulk of the carries here? What if he doesn't get involved in the passing game? I feel decently confident. Like, he's borderline green light territory for me, though, because, his floor on the year has been 7.7. You get that in both games, and you're getting around a 15-point week, which is only a couple points off of what you're looking at in your value. So I think DJ Foster is a decent play this week, but always cautious on his usage level in that offense. The one option I really like among the starter or top running backs is Timothy Flanders of the Ottawa Red Blacks. He is also at $8,000, so you're also looking for 20 points out of him. He plays 2 games this week against Toronto and Montreal, and Flanders is starting to get a little more usage in that offense for Ottawa. The start of the year, he started the year with a 5.6 and a 4.7, but in his last 3 games has been over 10 in each of them, 13.7, 10.2, and 14.1. Especially if that Ottawa offense starts producing a little more now that they've got Caleb Evans, who had a very good game last game. I do like Flanders. I think he has maybe a bit more of a tough matchup with the Argos and the Alouettes, both hovering in that 13 points against by running backs a game. But hey, Flanders puts you up 13 points in each game, you get 26, which is more than 20 points, which is what you're looking for. So I really like Flanders. I think he's going to continue to be used in fun ways in that Ottawa offense. And 2 games this week for a starting running back at $8,000. I like his potential to put up 20 points on the week. I'm saying cautious on William Powell. Last week he was the leading running back out of everybody. 21.6 points last week, which gave full value for his price. He's averaging 12.8 on the season, and he seems to be, up and down at times. He's had games, under 10. He's had 3 games there. He's had 3 or 4 games in that 12 to 15 point range, and all of a sudden had that big game last time, which was aided by the touchdown, which, much like Stanback, he's had few and far between. That's really why I put him in the same category I put Stanback in. I think these are 2 premium quality running backs. The question is, are they going to get the usage? We've seen games where Powell gets 18 carries. We've seen games where he gets 8. And is he going to get the usage in the passing game? He did last week. Will he again this week? And is he going to get the touchdowns? I do like around his price point. I think he's a decent option, especially in that rematch with Calgary again this week. I expect the Riders to be better always around than they were last game. But I am always cautious on Powell being able to hit that 20-point range, which he did for the first time last week, depending how well he gets used in that offense. I'm also cautious on Anthony Coombs. He's listed as a running back, but really he lines up at receiver for Ottawa. $6,500 is his price. 16.3 points is his 2.5 per $1,000. I like him because he has 2 matchups again this week. In 4 games, he's averaging 6.2 points. Multiply that by 2, you're getting 12.4, which is not even 2 points per 1,000, but it's close. I'm cautious on Coombs because, 2 games to hit 16 points, you would think a starting receiver should be able to do that. You're looking at 8 points a game, but after a big 16.2 in his first one of the year against BC in week number 6, in the past 2 games it's been 3.4 and 5.1. So he hasn't gotten a ton of targets his way, which puts me a little cautious on Coombs to fully hit that value. I'm saying stay away from Kadeem Carey this week. $6,398 is his price. In his past 4 games, he's gotten 12.7, 4.5, 2.6, and 10.9. I do like that his price has dropped. He's averaging 11.4 on the year, but the Riders are pretty good against the run. They're the second best team besides Edmonton at stopping running backs. And I think Carey, last week didn't get a ton of usage in terms of the carries in that game. He did put up a decent point total, sure, but he did just get 11 carries on the game. I want to see him get more than that, and I want to see him get a little more involved in the receiving game, and I think he is a little bit touchdown dependent. He doesn't have that high floor from the usage in that Calgary offense. I'm also staying away from Sean Thomas Erlington for a lot of the same reasons. The Ticats just don't seem to run the ball a whole ton. They really... this past week for Sean Thomas Erlington, just 7 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown. He did get a couple catches. I believe he got 1 catch for 10 yards. But if you're starting running backs only getting 7 carries a game, and that almost seems like it's on the high end for him, I say stay away. Toronto's also got a decent run defense. Sean Thomas Erlington, he could hit the total, sure, but I don't think he does this week. I think 14's a little bit lofty for him in that matchup, so I say stay away from Sean Thomas Erlington. And then taking a look at a couple of the cheaper options at running back here. Terry Williams of the Edmonton Elks, $4,007. You need 10 points out of him. He's averaging just 5.1. The return game for Edmonton has not gotten going this year. They play Winnipeg, who has given up some bigger returns, but last time out for Terry Williams, 7 points against Ottawa last week. I think that was his highest total on the year. I don't think he's worth the value if you're looking for a cheaper play at running back. Ante Milanovic-Litre, also saying stay away from him. In 8 games this year, he's averaging 4 points. He does not get enough carries or passes his way. In fact, last week he put up negative 0.2 points for you. So don't take a negative. Not that I think he'll put that up on consecutive weeks, or really, again, it's pretty rare. But he does not get a whole ton going his way. So I say stay away from Milanovic-Litre. And the other option I like, if you want to punt it at the running back position, it's kick returner, punt returner Jamal Morrow of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's averaging 5.2 on the year. You need 6.3 for full value, so he's really close, 1 point off in that regard. And he's been pretty consistent in that point total. He's not going to break you a massive week, but 4 of his 5 games, he's been right at that 5-point mark or higher. Last week it was 4.9. He has put up a week of 7.8, and I think I like the low or the high floor of a couple of points that you're going to guaranteed get out of a return guy like Jamal Morrow. He's not going to give you 10, 20 points in the week unless he breaks a big return, but I think there is the potential to save money at the running back position and go in his direction. So those are your options at running back. I really like Flanders and Jamal Morrow this week. I think there's also some very good options to be had between Wilder Jr., Stanback, Foster, Powell, and Coombs. And then I'm staying away from the rest of the field. As I mentioned at the start, if you missed it, go back, check out the quarterback previews, and stay tuned later today for wide receivers and defense as well. I'll have a depth chart update out on Wednesday for the Ottawa-Toronto game, and then later in the week I'll have depth chart updates for the other games as well to help you set your lineups for week number 10. Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you liked, what you didn't. If you have any fantasy questions, put them in the comments section or tweet them at me at CooperTrooper42 on Twitter. It starts with a K. A link to it's in the video description. And if you want to play CFL Fantasy alongside myself and other viewers, check the video description for a link to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix group over on the official CFL Fantasy site. You can play alongside myself and other viewers this week and every week throughout the 2021 CFL season. As always, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.